Hi, it's Nancy Jean from the garden again, and I have as a guest today Kelly, and we are doing day 7 of the 9 candles, and she's come to help us. And as you all know, we go to the ring of candles and I light them. And okay, and today I keep forgetting to do this till I have the candles lit, and I've almost burnt my arm off. This is called a fairy stone, and I thought it was very good considering we're talking about elementals, rituals, and all that good stuff. And that's in the very center. And what it is it's a kind of quartz, a geode, just like amethyst is quartz too, guys. But this one, it looks purpley. It looks actually more purpley on the camera than it is. It's a lovely purpley pink, and it's very much fairy colors. So it's my fairy
Beautiful.
stone. So we're going to go into the meditation, which is 9 candles, including the equinox. Equal night, equal day, balance the light and the dark. As the daytime shortens to this point, the ley lines, energetic nerves on this planet straighten out and stay in bounds. It is a time for us all to connect with the elements in our planet. It's a time, in this time of rapid change, we must pause and consider our own boundaries. And with this ritual, we consider where we have been and where we are going. Small rituals that are personal, larger rituals that we share, help us connect with our evolving self and connect and reconnect out to others. Love and hope, light and warmth, our world needs them all. Get these guys going. And I've given up trying to reach across the candles because I really am about to melt my arm off. Yeah.
But we don't want you to do that.
Well, you wouldn't think they make that much heat, but trust me, next time Greg Abbott doesn't pay our power bills, I'll have some. I have a bunch of candles left to burn. Anyway, thank you all for joining me today and to join with Kelly. And Kelly, everybody has a different set of rituals, and you come from a different country. She's a foreigner. She's from Canada. It's where my parents came from.
Love it.
My parents were married on Halloween, because when they got married on Halloween in Canada, it wasn't a holiday and people didn't dress up and run around with pumpkins and things. They loved it when they moved us to the States, because they just threw us out in the streets, go collect candy, and they had their own anniversary. So, I mean, so everybody's rituals are different.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, my dear, what do you want to say?
Well, it's interesting because I don't know that I had rituals prior to the last year. I mean, I have things that I do, but I wouldn't say that they were rituals. But in the last year, I've developed a few things that I do, and they just make me feel good, if that makes sense. So on a full moon or on a new moon, it's very scientific and very technical. You might want to write it down. That's a total joke. I would write out on a sheet of paper what my intentions were. And I would also write a paragraph about my journey from the last full moon or the last new moon, right? Just in terms of how I was feeling in regards to my healing and, that journey. And I would write that out on a sheet of paper. I would sometimes not be able to go outside because, of course, it's -40 and there's 6 feet of snow or whatever the case may be. And so I would fold it up and I would stick it inside of a baggie. And I would tape the baggie to a window where the moon sort of goes over top of it. But I would stand there and stare at the moon, right? I would close my eyes and I would just allow myself to sort of get lost in that moment and try to really, really quiet my mind, which is very difficult for me to do. It's getting way easier at this point, but in the beginning it was difficult to do. But it made me feel like I was putting an action to my thoughts and my wishes and my feelings. Um, and now, I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get this done. Like, and now it's like almost like it builds up an excitement, almost like, Christmas morning and opening
Mhm.
up your presents. Um, I don't know that I feel any better or any worse or any different, but I will tell you one thing. The idea of having that as a routine that I do on that specific day, it just sort of boosts me up, which
Mhm.
is a new thing for me. It's not something that I've ever experienced before. So it's become part of a thing that I do, um, which I just think is interesting. Um, I have also taken my crystals out. I don't have a lot of crystals. I probably have like, 10 or 15. Um, and I have them for different reasons. And I take them out, I put them on a cloth, and I just like sort of like talk to them and sort of wipe them down and polish them. And I do that on the new moon and the full moon, as it's all part of the process, right? I just sort of sit there and I talk to them and I sort of rub them with a soft cloth, and I don't know, it allows me to just get quiet and feel them, right?
Mhm.
Um, those are really the two things that I have been doing as a repetitive pattern for every new moon and every full moon. And as far as other rituals, really the only other ritual that I do is when I open up to read, to toss cards,
Mhm.
right? I get all my cards out. I'm very selective about the cards that I use. I color coordinate everything. I do.
Well,
I line them up in a way that because it speaks to me, right? To do
mhm.
that. I'm very thoughtful, or try to be thoughtful about the decks that I choose that to put out. I put crystals on all of my decks, and I just sort of allow them to, right? I say a prayer. I always have my amethyst in my hand, like it is right now. And, I say my prayer, I talk to it, I sit here, I get quiet. I shuffle all my decks while I say my prayer at the same time. And that's probably about a 20-minute sort of thing that I do.
Mhm.
Um, and then I crank my music and I sing my brains out, which may sound a little unorthodox, but I feel like it allows me to open up my throat chakra. It allows me to communicate, allows me to hear people. And there's something about that exchange. I feel that it helps. Plus, it just puts me in a really good, sort of happy position, right? I feel
Mhm.
that I sit up straighter when I'm able to listen to whatever music I feel like listening to that particular day. So anyone that joins me on my channel live knows that I'm usually, all when they come
Mhm.
backstage. But it just honestly, it lifts me up, makes me feel really good. So
Well,
those are like probably the three things that I do all the time.
you kind of what you do is you put your body, your mind, and your spirit in the same vibration. Music is extremely important for that. When I
Mhm.
had my vision and went to see the elementals the first night, they were having a party. They were dancing. They were dancing around the flames. They were explaining to me all
Right,
these different motions made a difference in how they communicate to the earth, because you have to get grounded and touch the earth when you're doing that. You have to, reach out into the air. You're bringing up the fire of your own spirit. I
right,
mean, it's you're putting the whole package together.
right.
And I think a lot of times we feel restrained about doing things like that, and we really shouldn't.
It's true. I think that that's a really good point. People often hold themselves back from expressing themselves for fear of judgment, or people looking at them funny or pointing a finger, or whatever the case may be. And um, when we go through these exercises, whether it's a full moon, a new moon, 9 candles, whatever it may be, it's an opportunity to clear out that past way of thinking about ourselves, or those negative thoughts that we may have, right? It's an
Mhm.
opportunity to clear out that clutter and replace it with a more positive way of approaching a situation or just a thought pattern, right?
Well, when I used to read live with people, and I read in a wine bar and in a shop and just did what I call table readings. I would sit down, and a friend of mine, she said, you shift from a conversation to me to working with these people. But I said, you watch me do it the next time and see what happens. And I had developed a thing where the first thing I'd ask them is, do you know anything about Tarot? Have you ever studied Tarot? Well, they did two things. It gave me an idea if they could follow my jargon or how simple I need to get about things.
Right.
And also to, engage with them and find out kind of where they are. And I said, we're going to start with what's going on around you for the next 3 months, because that always gives me a chance to see what's going on around your life, gives you a chance to see how I read. We can kind of decide where we're clicking, because
Right.
and the only time that was a detriment is if what I laid on the table wasn't right for that person. And I knew it when I looked at it. And
Right.
I'd have to explain to them, I'm gathering this up because I don't feel it's you. But
Right.
they always freaked because they thought I saw something terrible I didn't want to tell them.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I'd explain to them, I'd read them what it said, and they go, no, that's not me. I said, that's why we're gathering it up. We're going to try again.
Yeah.
But after we had the little conversation over the three things, then I was in full reading mode. By the time I did the second reading, not just the first 3 months,
Right.
but the second reading, I was in full reading mode. And one of the hardest things to get used to is Zoom was not having that kind of interconnection with people when you were talking to them.
Right.
But even when I read at table at times 10, there was a couple of special moon nights, and we went out on the patio and we burnt incense and stuff. I always had to get their permission, because one thing you don't want to do in a wine bar is burn incense, because it sort of screws their taste buds up. But
Right.
but they'd say, no, go out and do it in the patio and keep the air moving around.
Yeah.
And I was always trying to engage people in those kinds of rituals as I would run across them, and I would find them, and I would find things that could bind us together and make things important.
Right. There is I personally find there's something very magical about that time of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Quite often I will either sit outside or look out the window depending on the weather. I find it very tranquil, very serene, very peaceful. There's something about it that allows my mind to shut to a point where the clatter and the clutter and the hamster wheel just sort of comes to a pause. And it's probably consistently the one time in a 24-hour period where my brain doesn't feel like it's in complete overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
And because of my anxiety, that's an amazing feeling, because that doesn't happen very often, right? And so I allow myself to just sort of look up at the stars and just be like, I'm not thinking anything, and I really feel in that moment that I'm just sort of very still like a tree, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sort of going wherever I feel I need to be led to. And I love that time, and I do believe that there is a lot of power in the moon, in the illumination of the moon, right? And twinkling of the stars. There's something very powerful about that to me, for
Yeah,
sure.
and it's sort of a chance to begin to practice being part of one,
Yeah. Yeah.
to surrender and not have to be so wrapped up in what's happening within this shell that I can understand and open up and be out and be part of the
Yeah.
one. I'm going to show some after the 9 candles, not today, but after we do this series of shows, I'm going to be doing some things I picked up in feng shui that I used to teach people how to do, like the mountain of gold, which, so you just go find, you live in a place where you could find them. Here where I live, we have to go buy them at the craft store, but you get like 8 river stones, you paint them bright gold, you pound them, put them outside your front door. And it's a mountain of gold, and it's you're opening it up to the universe. We want prosperity here. I
Right.
have a gold stone that I painted that I have in my living room. That's to remind us of the importance of that unique mineral that doesn't corrode, doesn't go away.
Right.
I mean, I wish I had a gold nugget the size
Right.
of chocolates, but those things will come. But anyway, I'm going to encourage people who watch this, if you know of a ceremony or you know of some way you get together with friends, and just let me know and we can talk about it and look at some of the more ancient ways that we're connected to and to connect to each other and share them with each other so that other
Quincy
people can
wants to say
benefit
hi.
from it. Yes, and she's got this black cat fetish. We have one of those in my house too.
Yeah. He's a
Ooh.
squishy muffin.
Yeah.
So everybody, how cute you are. There you are. Hi,
There.
everybody.
Hi, kitty. Get Ooh up here. He just hissed at the screen.
Yeah.
What are you bringing? When we have 3 cats in my house. We have my cat, Dublin, tech support's cat, Ua, and my daughter, her dog was the one that people used to say, "What's that dog yipping in back of your program?" That was London, and London unfortunately left us in October. So Casey replaced London with a cat, which you don't have to walk, which was, I think, primarily why. But and the cat's name is Sterling, and not after the psychic Sterling. It's a beautiful gray. It's
I love that name.
gray.
It's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 kitty cats. I have Quincy, which is the kitty cat that we just that just came to visit. I have Austin, and I have Charlotte, which is Quincy's sister. And every once in a while, if you watch me, you'll see them either whipping around the background or they come to visit or whatever. Charlotte likes to sit on the table. She lays down on the cards. Every once in a while, she'll give a reading. She'll literally come up and pick a card.
Read that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, and I think right now, in honor of where you're from and stuff, and because of what's going on, we're seeing a whole lot of how ceremony can help people get through things. If you're
Yes.
looking at England,
Yes.
that's what's happened to the Queen, and you
Yeah.
know, all of that stuff. I mean, I know people that are not royalists or not monarchists or were not raised around it. I was, because my parents were Canadians, so I grew up with the QE2 ashtrays and teacups and stuff in my house. So
Well, I think that's an interesting point that you raise, Nancy Jean, because you know, I don't know if this is a thing to do with age, or if it is your personal experience. But for me personally, there's something very foundational and solid about a tradition. You know, when a certain day happens, this is what you can expect is going to happen. And something about that tradition that just sort of replenishes any fear that you may have. It replenishes the feeling of, you know, family or love or belonging or support, depending obviously on what it is that your tradition is. But there's something about it that seems very right, very normal, very needed. And it just makes me feel like I'm embraced. Right? Certain traditions that you do and that you carry forward. There's something very lovely about it that sort of puts me back to rights. I feel, you know, I'm whole again. I feel like it aligns me, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You know, and there are some traditions that are universal. There's some thoughts and myths that are completely universal. All over the world, every culture has had a dragon.
Yes.
It's made a dragon a center part of its understanding of the powers of nature and the powers of mythic creatures, and they all sound like the word dragon. They all have a dr, a dr kind of at the beginning of them, even if they're in Japanese, Chinese, any of the dialects, all across everywhere, even the Aborigines. And then, of course, we have the ones that we picture in Europe and have made part of some of our royal crests because they're so powerful. I'll learn how to speak one of these years. But I think there's just a whole lot of things like that. And when you run into someone who puts all those lines of thoughts together, you go, oh my God, we are all really connected. And I think these rituals and practices and ideas can help connect us too. And we need it. We need this. And the other part of that this is based on is the energy lines, which kind of got lost to human existence. I mean, they've always been there.
Right.
All the old holy places all over the world are part of it. I put up when Dr. Gale was on, she's in Mount Shasta because she was supposed to go do something mystically that would help the root chakra. Well, we found the map of all the chakras in the world and we put it up, and the pyramids are a chakra, you know,
Right.
Lake Titicaca's, I mean, they're spread across all the continents and everywhere. Third eye is floating up someplace up near the North Pole. And I was
Wow.
joking with her because she's been told eventually she'll visit all of the sites. And
Right.
I said, you think Mount Shasta's cool? Look where that one is. And she goes,
Exactly.
She said, I'll give that one an astral projection. I
Yeah.
won't.
I love it. That's cute.
But, you know, we have all these things that unite us, and this is a time of year when the planet actually pulls all of its energy back in place, straightens it out and says, today I rest. And I think we need to do that because when we finish these 9 candles, the day we finish them actually will be the new moon. And
Right.
that's a great day to put up your intentions of all the things you've thought about while you've been going through the 9 candles. Because we've
Right.
had every topic under the sun discussed. And I'm really happy with what you added to us today, especially because you got kitty cats in the pictures. So
Yes, everyone wants to see Quincy's tail.
yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go to the candles and blow them out. And I do this every time.
What?
I'm not talking to you. I had a visitor, the owner of the black cat that's in my house. I'm going to blow the candles out because when I first did this, people left their candles burning. And then this one woman said, I'm running out of candles. Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but the last day we leave them lit.
You know.
I don't, because I almost burned my house down doing that. And that's not a joke. I really almost burnt my house down doing that.
Uh-oh. Well, we
Yeah,
don't want that.
It exploded and it was not in a proper glass container, although it was sold as being and such. So all elements can help. They can enlighten. They also can scare the pants off you. Keep that in
Right.
mind. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to Kelly and goodbye to all the people. And we'll see you tomorrow for the day 8. See what mystery person we have coming then. Bye.